Surprise! It's not Cassie.
Oh God, it's me.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bree. I am from the Tatiwaba multiverse, and I am here on my left, with the Hawaiian man to the right.
Hello, I'm Enzo Sorrell. I'm not from anywhere.
Hello, I'm Kari, and I hate everybody.
She is a liar, and she is from she is from the Tatiwaba multiverse also. Surprise, surprise. I hope that this is okay. I haven't really talked to anyone. No one's talking to me. Anyway, I'm on Cassie's channel. We're kind of just having a party, I guess, until Paranormal Chop Shop tonight. We're super excited for that. Yeah, I can't wait to see who their guest is. They're going to talk some cryptids. Sometimes they have some really cool guests on, and I'm like, damn, I want to get them on Bobby's Cryptid Corner, but they just had them. They just asked them all the questions I would. Sometimes.
Well, tonight they're going to have Kenny Irish, the cryptopunkologist.
I know exactly what that is.
I'm interested.
He's done a lot of production type work for History Channel for various. He's done a lot of work. He's done a lot of work for various different.
On that one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. His biography's pretty long. He's got a lot of Monster Quest, American cryptids, international cryptids. He's been on Coast to Coast AM. He's done a lot.
That's fucking awesome. Really quickly, let's say hello to Carol, as always, the queen of the world, Carol.
Hello. Hello there.
Beautiful lady. The Bud Flies. And Brown Dwarf. I haven't seen you in so long. Where have you been?
It's files, not flies, Brie.
I can't read. The Bud Files. My bad, love. God, I wish I didn't turn that light on. That's like quite a resume, though.
Yeah, that's quite a resume.
You get that, man. I had no idea. And I'm trying to get in on that episode. Well, I'm pretty sure I'll be there. But God damn, that's a lot of questions. That's a lot to prepare for. I mean, someone that has done all of that work. How do you even get into that? That's wild. That's going to be super interesting to hear. Hopefully, a little bit of his backstory. How he got involved. I feel like you usually have to be somewhat interested in fringe topics such as cryptids and things paranormal, etc. And it's so dope for people when they love to do film and like editorial work, but yet you get to do that in that kind of sector, get a little bit of the best of both worlds. Hello, Mittens.
Hello.
Hello. It'll be really cool. So we all kind of straggled down here from a stream that we had on Tatiwaba earlier. And we were just shooting the shit. Hi, Lynn. Love you. We were just shooting the shit about the queen.
Who?
Chatty Poo. Das Queen.
That's a dead joke, Brie.
No. Oh, no.
Listen, I
went there.
I got attacked. I'm just kidding. I'm attacked. We are in such a strange climate right now, you guys. It is hard not to offend people.
Yes, there's minefields everywhere.
How dare you make a joke about Betty White?
Fun of the dead.
How
that shit got me I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible. But listen, we all got a joke. We have to have fun. I think sometimes we forget that, we live such a short life. So why don't we make the best of it and not be so uptight about things? It's nice when you allow yourself and other people to be fun and free flowing. Everyone has such a better time with their lives. Let's see. What does Ghost Dragon have to say? Life is a sucking, swirly eddy of despair, filled with small.
Should I do a dramatic reading?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Take over.
Life is a sucking, swirling eddy of despair, filled with small moments of false hope in an ever-blackening universe. And no, Bigfoot doesn't wear clown shoes for comfort.
Thank you, baby. What about this one?
Hi there, Miss Host Pretty, Enzo, Corey, and all the chat room people here surrounded.
Kari likes to give us our dramatic readings in sometimes different voices, so that's awesome.
That's what I do. What I do.
That's what I do. But yeah, we were just talking about the poor queen's passing.
Who?
Don't emphasize on the poor part, please. She was not poor by any means. And she lived a lot longer than I hoped to.
I hope to live that long, to be honest.
You want to live long? Tell me about it. Tell me why. Give me your reasons.
You got to experience everything. You know, you only get that one shot for this time frame. I want to experience it all as long.
One opportunity to see everything you ever wanted.
For this incarnation, this is it. This is what you get.
Would you capture it or would you let it slip?
You got to grab it with both hands.
His palms are sweaty. Knees weak, arms are hip. Okay, you weren't going there with me, Enzo.
What's going on? It's English. Oh.
You weren't going there with me, okay? That's all right. I forgive you for that. That's all right. I forgive you for that.
It wasn't in the show notes.
That's like wild though. That you're throwing all your eggs in this basket this life.
Oh no. I'm not. I mean, there's we would hope that there's something beyond this, of course, and I imagine there is. But while you're here, why not make the most of it? Try and stick around. Who wouldn't want to? I mean, granted, the queen, I'm sure, had the best medical and observations and supervision for her health throughout her entire life, which some of us may not be able to receive. But still, why wouldn't you? I mean, like my family is fairly long lived into the 80s. Which a lot of that rides on your general health and your, whatever your genetics are.
These are from the year 2000.
Wow, ancient technology.
I can't use them because they're white.
Babes, that's an antique. That's an interesting theory that you have there, Enzo, because I always feel like if you just stay alive longer in those later periods of time in your life, that you're not even able to do all the things that you want to do.
Say that again, but with a Long Island accent.
Long Island.
Long Island.
Hey, Anthony, get over here.
Get over here.
I thought Anthony, that's the only thing I've got.
That's kind of close. That's fairly close. So,
you know what I mean? Like,
well, I view it as for the time that you're here, why not make the most of it? Kind of thing. You kind of have to, take care of yourself so that time lasts longer, of course. I say is no. It's never too late, Brady. It's never too late. But you should always strive to, experience everything that you can. Go out and do it. If you have a goal I want to go to visit these different places around the world or something like that. You can't even
walk there though. Like you get out of the car. Like what if you can't even get out of the car? You know what I mean? It's just, you got arthritis. I swear I already fucking have arthritis. I'm not even lying.
That's why,
carpal tunnel had that years
important.
ago.
I mean,
plantar fasciitis. Has anyone else ever had that? Because I've had that. And
plantar warts? Yeah, sure.
No, plantar fasciitis.
Oh, maybe
and this whole week my ankle too. Like this whole week my ankle, I had it on a special foot thingamabob, and I was icing it. Like right now, let me take this off. This is so real. I'm sorry, Cass.
Hang on, Cass's channel.
I forget I'm not on my own channel. I have this on my foot right now. Okay, it just looks like a normal sleeve, right? But I'll flip it inside out. This is a it's like a pad. It's a spongy pad.
Right
here. So it goes in the center of your foot. And this one's really nice because it has like a little has an L here. So it's your left foot. So you slip it on your left foot. So this part is only on your heel where the arch of your foot is.
Mhm.
So that when you're walking, your ankles, if you have like I think they call it like collapsed ankle or something, but it's like when you walk, you're not pronating, which means that your ankle isn't rolling and falling forward. So this is like a weird cushion for me, so that
Right.
like this is the arch of your foot. I'm adding this so that when I'm walking, it's not
Sure.
going meh, meh, meh. So like
That
if I
noise
had
would
this
get annoying
now-
over time.
Oh no! When I first had a flare up from plantar fasciitis, actually I got it because I was running and I wasn't using correct shoes. Shame on me. And it's never
that's the key, correct shoes.
And it's never been the same since until I get like it flares up in certain times where I'll walk and it legitimately feels like someone slammed like a knife or like a hook in the bottom of your foot and it goes straight up and it's like crippling. It's like that kind of crippling.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm 31. I'm almost 32. But I'm just saying, like, I can imagine myself, give me 30 more years and I'll be like, I better have some fake feet by then.
Some artificial feet.
Absolutely.
Or just specific shoes, I think would help with that. You've already got a workaround with that slip-on. So
could you imagine if you had artificial feet because you could program them to do things that you're too lazy to do? Like you could program your feet for the next
walk
day.
to the store. I'm just going to ride.
You sync your feet to your schedule. So even though you're lazy, the next day it's and then it like walks you to the places you have to go and be. It's like it walks you to your car.
Walk me to the
It's
refrigerator.
like Tesla,
walk me back
your
to the couch.
car is autonomous, so
refrigerator.
your car knows I gotta drive this place, and then it like walks you in the store.
It really is.
It drops you off at the park. You start running.
Why? It's just you have AT-AT legs. You're just marching through the
Think
forest.
about it. Don't you always have ideas in your head about things you want to do, especially at night? I'll be tomorrow. It's always
there's
tomorrow.
always tomorrow. That's the thing is, and that's where I was originally going with all of this is we're here for kind of a finite period of time. Myself, I'll be 55 in November. Realistically,
I forgot you were a November baby.
Yeah, I'm a Scorpio.
I forgot. What's the date? 11th.
The 2nd.
Damn,
November 2nd for me. Well, that's 2 ones. That's up to
and
2.
spooky is the 11th, right? Am I wrong?
No.
Spooky Morales. Spooky Morales.
Oh.
Isn't
My
Spooky
mom's
11/11?
November 2nd.
Is he? I don't know. But where I was going with is I only realistically have probably 20 years left of useful, where I can go out running around and doing things if I take care of myself, years. And, that's basically like the last third of my life. And it's very easy for folks that are, in your younger years thinking, oh, I've got forever. I've always got time. That time eventually runs out. I was chatting with my 76-year-old neighbor last week because I was thinking about buying some property or maybe like building like an adventure van to do all this traveling and things like that.
Your idea, by the way. Your idea.
now that I'm fully retired, I can do those kind of things, but it's going to cost me. I'm going to have to save up some money. But her piece of advice to me that kind of stuck with me in my head was, do it now while you can, because she's 76 and it's like I can't really do that with my health and everything else. So life is shorter than you think. So get out and experience those things.
I plan on I've experienced a lot of things, but I plan to continue more. There's still things on my bucket list. I've never done ayahuasca, and that's been on my bucket list for a long time. I have to do ayahuasca before I die, even if it's on my deathbed. I'd be like, give me the DMT.
That's it. Well, if you're about to die, if you're on that deathbed, it's like
you probably already have it. Yeah. Which is really interesting, actually. There's a lot of people that say, like, maybe even days before they pass, people will be like, the week before my grandma passed, she started, seeing my dad that had passed, her husband that had passed, my other uncles, my, whatever. And she talks about things that wasn't there. And I think that's really interesting. It's like, does our consciousness switch over? Especially if you live in later lives. Obviously not if
Right.
you're, hit by a car or whatever. But if you
Sure.
live to the later days, do you guys think that our consciousness might switch over before our body does?
Yep.
I
Yeah?
do feel that as you get closer to where that veil is going to pass over you, as far as linear time goes, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to live past this point. As you get closer to that, I do feel that you would probably be able to see through that veil and see what's on that other side briefly. Whether we're talking, a matter of days or a few hours even. But
For sure.
I could see that because we hear a lot of stories exactly like that. People that are in the hospital and say the exact same thing. I saw my uncle or my mother or whoever, someone that's already passed on. They see them like that. So I think there's something to it.
What about you, Mrs. Kari?
Before my granddad died, like 2 days before he died, apparently he was saying, like, he was shouting up at the ceiling, "No, you can't take me. I don't want to go."
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And there's deeper stuff, but I don't really want to talk about it here.
Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, that was the thing that happened to him anyway.
There's always you always hear that too, that last fight for the very last second. It's like no, because nobody's ever really ready. I guess maybe if you were in a horrific situation,
Born
where you're
ready.
just constant in pain and things like that, you're like, please end this now. I get that, but almost everyone else is going to be like, give me just one more second, one more day to see those last. There's always those tragic stories of people that are in a rush to go and visit their
Kari's granddaddy.
I know there's always those tragic stories of people that aren't able to get to where like their dying parents or things like that, and they miss them by like just minutes before they pass, and that's so traumatizing. What's he eating there? What was that?
He has 2 different ice creams, and he's really happy about it.
Ghost Dragon,
I would be happy too. That's great.
Tell me more about Death's Door. I'd like to hear more about that. That sounds really interesting. Yeah, I know not a lot of people are a fan, but I am a fan of Machine Gun Kelly. And I know that he had an experience with his dad when he was dying, and he went to see his dad, and his dad didn't think that he was real. He thought that he was an angel. And was like, why you brought my son here, or whatever. And he's like, Dad, it's really me. And he's like, this isn't really you, you're an angel. And his dad didn't, like, the last moments, his dad thought that he was just a projection that an angel was bringing him. And like the last few moments, he was just kind of like laughing and staring at the sky and saying, like, we'll do better next time. And it was a hell of a ride. And I just loved that story because I imagine that from your loved one's perspective, that might be hard for them to feel like the person that's passing doesn't see them there. But hearing what his dad was saying, that would give me so much comfort that someone could be laughing, or even just to think that it was an angel there in the room with them.
Right.
I think that's really powerful.
It is. It really is.
I feel like that would be the best way to go with someone,
I'm intrigued by that. We'll do it better next time. Was that what you said?
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, what does that mean?
But I think that can speak to reincarnation sometimes. I personally am a firm believer that you have a soul family, because I've had lots of people in my lives where I feel like I know them. And there are times when they're there and they leave, and it truly feels like they've served their purpose. right? Like, this was great for the time. They taught me something. We did all these things, but now things have changed. They don't need them anymore. You know what I mean? But it doesn't feel like your stories are over. And I sort of feel that way because if you think of like a reincarnated soul family, then you would all kind of switch different roles, different positions in each other's lives to teach each other different lessons. But it's the same soul that you're connecting with, which would be wild. It would be like maybe my dad was my sister in another life, and maybe I was a complete dick to my sister. And so now in this life, my dad is going to be a dick to me, and I'll learn something from that. Maybe we will both heal from that. But if not, I will carry on whatever I learned and, pass it on to my next life. It's like we're all passing, things around.
You mean it's all samsara?
It's all what?
It's all samsara?
Samsara.
I thought so. It always was.
And that's just kind of how karma goes. And I'm not saying people think of karma in like a really basic sense of what goes around comes around. No, we're talking karma as in any energetic exchange between two people forms a type of energetic cord. And so when you do anything with anyone, if there's an exchange, if there's a buildup of emotion, you've built up karma. So you have to like leave that without any hanging regrets, and fully come to closure before that karmic cord is cut, and then you can move on, right?
Right.
So I feel like we'll do it better next time. That's like a soul family talking to you. I've learned something from you. You've learned something from me. And we've both come out of this better as people because of that knowledge. And next time, we're going to remember. We're going to, But then it starts to get you thinking, like,
There's
did
a good
I
question
know
in the
more?
chat.
Did I know
Where
more?
is where is the soul located? Is it in the brain or the heart? I think it's in neither, sir. Or
I say neither also. I mean, it's
I
hard
think it's a
because, like,
signal.
are we talking about actual organs? Because if we're talking about legitimate organs, brain, absolutely not. Heart, absolutely not. But heart metaphorically, I
Right.
would say yes. Brain
Yeah,
metaphorically, I would say absolutely not, because the
I
brain
think
is
it's
just TV collecting a signal.
it's a quantum entanglement kind of signal thing. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely an outside source.
Plus, with the medical technology
That's
today,
how you know how like people can remote view or they can sense things or they're empathic. That's just reversing the data flow. So you're going out, it's like coming into you and then you're going back out. Your awareness is going back out along the lines of connection.
I don't
like
think your
Wi-Fi.
soul is everywhere. I feel like to say that your soul is energetically and your heart would make sense, because
Right.
if you always follow your heart no matter what, it leads you, it's like when you try to find peace, the best thing you can do is go straight to the heart. Feel physically love for other people, but of course for yourself first, for others. And it's like when you generate that type of real heart frequency, it seems to heal your soul and other soul. So part of me feels like maybe in the heart, but not,
it wouldn't necessarily be tied to
that's a
the
heavy
organ, though. I
question.
mean,
Not to the organ, not at all. No.
Because we see in medical technology that we have today that we've built up to, where people get heart transplants from totally different people. It's not like that soul jumps from one body to another with that.
No.
So I don't feel that it's an organ specific kind of a thing. It's, as Kari was saying, kind of a Wi-Fi connection to somewhere else.
Exactly. And I feel like that's easier for people to try to understand, that your mind is literally a TV, like a monitor. Like your mind is the TV, right? But it's not. The signals, the channels doesn't come from the TV. The TV is just hardwired to accept and reflect the frequency that it's been given. So that to me is where it's consciousness. The consciousness is a strange stream that's downloaded into the brain, and then it's reflected back to us in a way that
How
we
does
can.
this translate to animals?
Who said that?
So, me. So
Oh.
like, we're talking.
And I'm going to get back to
are we
Melissa's
talking about like
question, just so
sentient?
Melissa knows.
Like,
I did start that question earlier, and I will get to it.
are we talking like sentient life, as in like self-awareness? Is the when a creature gains sentience, is it like they're logging into a certain frequency of awareness, which includes the self, or is it just outward awareness of, like say like a wolf would have? A wolf isn't aware of itself, I don't think, not to the extent that like a human would be. So
But see, that's like a total projection.
is it just, is awareness just the operating system, and it's different, all the way from like an ant to a human is the same operating system, just in a tiny computer compared to a big computer?
I think so. But I also think that could be a part of karma, of soul karma, could actually be like you start at a certain point and then you get deeper and deeper into the cycle.
Upgrades.
But I do think that once you reach a certain point that you can go back and be of service. And there's a word for that. And I wish I could remember it.
Altruistic?
No, there's a weird ass word for it. But it's basically like that you would be of guidance. So we have like, your spirit guides, right? But there's another word for if you almost feel like staying in the reincarnation cycle, but you recycle yourself way back in order to help others.
A Sherpa?
Why, I don't know. I can't remember. I'd have to ask Victoria. I'll ask her later. Because she'll know the word off the top of her head. But it's like the whole concept where people are saying like that your pets choose you. Like your pets are almost in a form of spirit guide for you. And I fucking believe that so hard. And it could really be that someone maybe made it through this cycle of karma, completed the cycle. And then instead of going on and floating in a world that we can't even fathom, they've decided to go back and be of service of some of those that need help. And a lot of us still need help. So they could just, I feel like I would do that if I could. Thinking logically, obviously, I have no idea, but it's easy to imagine that if I were to be able to complete my wheel of karma, that I would put myself back in service to other people.
Careful now, Teal Swan's going to come after you.
The issue with this now is that when you put yourself back in this wheel of karma to be of service to other people, maybe your pet, it's a perfect environment, things are very cohesive, everyone gets along. But you never know what kind of environment you might be placing yourself in. So then if things were wrong, have done wrong to you as a pet, that you thought that you were going to help someone, but bad things were put onto you, now that karma is packed back onto you. So that begs the question is if you can complete your wheel of karma, reincarnate back to help others, but then you forgot so deep that then you've cycled yourself back into the wheel of karma when you could have just finished the wheel of karma and then moved on to what's next. I don't know if that's is way over a lot of people's heads or not.
That sounds like an episode of Westworld, to be honest.
It's about here on me. But,
is it? Okay. It gets deeper.
It's not so deep. I spawned a hat.
You spawned a steampunk hat.
I wanted to do deep thoughty waba, and yet we kind of put it in such a.
I do have goggles here.
Where it's too much, so maybe we'll dumb it down and we'll just have conversations like this. That might be easier. But I do want to address the beautiful Melissa Nicole. She did ask earlier, so Brie, can karma carry over in the next life? And I say absolutely. That's the whole point of karma. It's not necessarily, people are like, what goes around comes around. No, That's not really how it goes. It's more like you think of it as debt, energetic debt.
I like that.
And the energetic debt isn't necessarily negative or positive. It's just a currency, like literal funds being exchanged back and forth between people. And the whole point of it being cycled into the next life, I believe, I'm not positive, and some have definitely come to this conclusion, that it is most definitely carried on into your next life, and that can be a part of what your main life's theme is. So, like, if you look down to people of color in your next life, especially if you've done wrong to them, if you've physically done wrong to them, your next life, you may be placed as that person of color that's going through something traumatic from other people, and you have to learn that on a soul level, what that feels like. But it's not just switching roles. At the end of the day, it's learning the lesson, because it's not always going to help your soul to feel one thing and then feel another. You have to feel both, but then have the awareness of where it's wrong and where you both meet in the middle. Does that make sense at all?
Yes.
Okay. Because, like, let's just pretend I got stabbed and I'm like, oh, God, that hurts. And then I see someone and I stab them and I'm like, ha. But, like, just because it happened, I'm not really learning anything. It's like I have to really learn from a deep cellular and soul understanding that what I've done is create and feel physical harm that is not necessary to invoke on other people. And that's like the simplest thing. I mean, that's just like stabbing each other. So it gets very deep.
That's pretty deep.
It is deep.
It's a deep stab, Maybe we're bleeding out.
Could be.
Oh, geez.
Would you see your life flashing before your eyes?
I think so. I'm seeing flashes now and I'm very confused. So yeah, the whole concept of karma, I used to have this theory a long time ago, and I kind of still feel it. I don't know if anyone's into this or not, but I'm not a Christian. But I used to have this theory that Christ was to end the wheel of karma. And I didn't think this being a Christian, but it was more like, if you followed the basic simple rules in the 10 Commandments and whatnot, that by believing in a certain person, so even though maybe they're not the Messiah, they're not the one, the only way, but maybe by you thinking that, maybe you will apply those basic rules to your life, and then you will therefore end your wheel of karma. We're getting too much. We'll just switch conversation.
I know it's getting a little very heady. It's these are all there's people that have spent their entire lifetimes talking about these very things and still can't figure it out. So we're not going to figure it out in the 30 minutes we have left before Paranormal Chop Shop starts.
So. We did it, everyone. We solved the mysteries of life and death. All go to bed.
Is this? Here's the formula. Go.
You know what? No one will ever know. No one will ever know, and no one should ever know, honestly. Right. And I think I've said this before many times on streams, that to me, that's exciting, because the whole point is to search. Whatever your heart wants to go down, whatever rabbit hole, do it. Just question everything, explore everything.
It is 2:30 a.m. for me, so
good night,
I'm going to love you and leave you. Everybody in the chat, go over the Chop Shop later. And I'd say I love you, but I don't.
You love me, though. So
you love us.
I do. I love you all.
Love you,
have pleasant evenings, everybody. I'm going to go and collapse. I'll be listening, though, so I'll know if you say anything. And on that bombshell.
Kari knows when you're
Kari.
Sleeping and knows when you're awake.
I did the first time I died before I was sent back, they said, who are they? That was just the beginning. You have so much more to come. Now go, you will see again. Shit, who are they? I hate the idea of they because people know that I've heard my story. It all started with the word they, and that's what got me spinning down my own rabbit hole, was that I said they, and I'm like, who are they?
Yeah, there is that whole part of any kind of experience like that, or even paranormal stuff. It's like, be specific. I know you've only got a few seconds, but tell me something. It's like,
but you don't, and like, you know, it's like what I've said a million times, what I feel like I've just said is like, you're not meant to know, kind of. I truly feel that. And I think that's really hard for some people because they feel like we're smart. We have these minds. We have all these resources. We have science. We should know. And if something's going to contact you, they should reveal themselves. You should be able to answer these questions. But a part of me feels like you're not meant to know those particular details. Maybe it's the human mind that needs particular details. Maybe that's our downfall.
I've always felt it more like there's steps you need to accomplish before learning that next level. I mean, you show up for the first day of first grade. They're not throwing quantum physics books in your lap and stuff like that. Oh, it's just stuff you need. Just read the book, you'll learn it. No, you need to learn how to read and write and basic arithmetic and things. And you move on to the second grade, which is a little bit more, third grade and so forth, up to college level, where you've reached this pinnacle of that everything led up to that. Dealing with like the afterlife and those cosmic level mysteries, I feel is the same thing. It's cryptic because you're not ready for it.
But what if, two parts here. One, my main soul feeling is that we're not meant to know, and it's just to lead us to keep questioning and to figure it out for ourselves. Or could it be that maybe you do get to that point? What if you get to that point where you're like, I figured it out. I know who these people are. But then you come out on the scene and you look fucking crazy. Because you're like, you guys, this is the answer. This is the only way. You know, we see these people that come across as a little bit of like a messiah in a way,
right?
Because they have all of the answers. So to me, I've kind of got the vibe that if you have all the answers, you are more lost than the people that have none.
True. And like going with my parable from earlier, if you may want to know everything about particle physics and all that stuff, but if you're in the first or second grade and Michio Kaku shows up and starts laying it on thick, you're not going to understand any of it. You're going to think he's a crazy person.
Yeah, but he's cool to look at. He makes cool hand movements.
And he does. He's got that soothing voice to understand how the cosmic strings
He's expensive, by the way.
Is he? Does he cost a pretty penny?
I can't say anything else. I'm sorry. I've got a loud mouth. Let's keep going.
She brought up, that's again, that cryptic mysteries we'll never learn. The price to get Michio Kaku to tell us things we don't understand. And I feel it's similar in that vein, where you don't have the education you need to understand what they're telling you,
right?
And if it figures that you go through all the steps, you get the education, you learn all the things and get to that level, and then turn around to everybody else in the universe that's around you that's still at like that third, fourth grade level at this point, even though you've graduated, your doctorates, they're not going to get what you're talking about, and you're going to look like a madman.
I'm sure Einstein looked like a fucking madman for a long time.
Oh, yeah. There's still people today, so many years later, pushing all of his theories and things like that. It's like, this is it. Look, we got it. And when they do all the math and they get peer review, they're like, no,
it's not.
He was still right. The guy was a super genius. And that's what we see with humanities. You get these people that have that spark of genius that leap every, you get people like Einstein and Nikola Tesla and not Edison so much. He was kind of a conglomerate of people. Yeah. Of people that he collected people that were smart around him and was able
to
the
credit.
Take the credit for it. So he
Thanks,
wasn't
Edison.
he was a good businessman. I'll give him that. But that's about it.
Business is you get go around.
It is, and that's you get these sparks of geniuses every generation that kind of elevate everybody.
Elon is ours.
Could be. He's definitely leapt us farther forward in many fields than others have. Others that have said, electric car, you're never going to get it. Here you go. Private business launching stuff in the space, that's stuff for governments. It's way too much. He's sending stuff up there. Now they're our main ride up to the space station now. So, he's done some amazing work.
Oh, so, I should read these from.
Yeah.
I think you have a point. It's like people are born to spark a light in the generation. The thing is that they always have a certain. It's always towards a specific subject and structure, but maybe that is to awaken the minds of those people to get us to the next step.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of worry sometimes is the rest of us are just so dumb that we haven't caught up. It's like, all right, we're going to give this guy all the smarts and he's going to educate the rest of you because you're not paying attention.
Hi, Dr. Z. Smith. I do want to read from Ghost Dragons because I asked, you passed how many lives? What happened? So he said there was a lady in the light and behind her were 4 others. I've seen the lady in the light all 5 times I walked through death's doors. I also see her when I astral project. I would love to have a private conversation with you, love.
Ghost Dragon is an amazing personality.
I've never seen him on my channel before. Why he didn't come to the Toddy Wobble multiverse? Because no one likes it for no reason.
I could have sworn we would have seen. I thought I'd seen Ghost Dragon.
I would have recognized. I'm interested. I need to know the 5 times you walked through death doors, and I tell you.
Future guests?
Absolutely, especially on probably abduction hotline, even though it's not an abduction. We can always rebrand that. It's more just people that have stories. I would not freak out. I've heard everything above and below. You have no idea, my friend.
And that's the other thing is people that have genuinely experienced things that seem so bizarre to the rest of us that you can't really discount it because I feel that those higher cosmic level type things they are so bizarre that we don't get it. That would be the natural reaction if you haven't worked your way up to it. That's what you would expect is oh, that's too much for me.
Yeah. And I was telling that to yesterday we had Wreaking Havoc, John. Wreaking Havoc 215. John on butt stuff yesterday. And before the show, I had to have a conversation with him and just let him know that I just needed to lay the ground rules. This isn't the show where we play all of your videos and we agree with you. And, whether or not people don't take it seriously, that's their fault. But we are actually going to give you our honest opinions on things. And, as long as you're okay with that and you're okay with the criticism, then it's great because it sucks when you're so tied up with what you feel things are that it's hard to open up to other people because they come with skepticism, and it feels like an attack on you. And I understand where that comes from because I've been there. Because in certain experiences, it's so special to you that when you say it to another person, they don't understand. They don't get it. They don't understand the implications and the circumstances and the groundwork that was laid before such event that made it so serious for you. and he was really struggling with the fact that he felt like he had all this evidence and people aren't taking it seriously, or people aren't looking at it, or no one wants to fully go into it, and he's just like, I don't know where to go from here. And I told him that I truly felt like a part of the phenomena, whether this is a blessing or a curse, a part of what I think the phenomena as a whole encompasses. You're kind of meant to be in the dark. You're kind of meant to be on your own. And I personally feel that it is to bring you through a journey where you eventually get to a point where you don't need to convince people anymore. You don't need any outside person to validate your experience, or for them to like, if they give you any pushback, to not be offensive to that. Like, you are so solid, secure, and you understand to the point where you're not looking for any outside validation. And that's a really hard place to be, especially when you're in this type of phenomena, whether it's ghosts, cryptids, aliens, you name it, anything in fringe topic lore. If you're going through it, there's going to be people that don't believe you. And so instead of continuously getting mad and feeling like you're yelling at a wall, I think that the phenomena kind of puts you in a position where you have to be your own best friend, trust your instinct, really, really, I really, really stress on your own connection. But that's the hardest part, is the alienation of it all.
It is. There's some folks out there that are they're open. They'll say they're open-minded, but they're only open this much. And once you get outside it, there's a certain point where everybody's like, okay, aliens, okay, I'm sure they exist. Okay, they may have visited here once before. They may be visiting now. Maybe they're abducting people. Maybe they've controlled our whole life. There's a certain point in all of these steps for certain things where it's like, no, that's too far. I'm not ready to accept that, or I'm not. And when it gets past that, they're like, no, it's absolutely not that. They created the moon and harvested. They deposited all of humanity on the earth as part of a I don't know. These are all theories that are out there. It's just everyone has their certain stopping points. Like, okay, I can believe up to this point and no further.
Yeah.
That doesn't make what's beyond that point incorrect or wrong.
True.
It's just that individual's stance is this is the scope in which I can believe in this topic or things. And some people it's very large. Some people it has no limits at all. And you can, they'll listen to every single viewpoint and weigh that on its own merits. And some folks it's very small. And a lot of it has to do, like, it's been brought up before about if the government comes out tomorrow and says, okay, UFOs are real. Yeah, we found this craft in 1947 and we've been tinkering with it. We haven't quite figured it all out, but we came up with Post-it notes or whatever it is, whatever technology we've gleaned from stuff. And there's still going to be people, even if they came out and said, here's the pictures of the craft, here's the dead bodies, there's still going to be people that are like, no, that did not happen. Mm-hmm. Even with them admitting it. So everyone has their own field of view on all of that. Some people, and you kind of have to be able to either let them go to the point where it's like, all right, I can only present so much evidence or so much, talk to you so long, and that's okay. I get it that you may not buy that, whatever it is, or they're so open that it's they'll listen to everything where nothing would make sense. There's many extremes there, but we have to learn, I feel, as a society to be a lot more. This particular circle are fairly open-minded, people that are watching us now. But as far as what I always refer to as the normies that aren't
Ew.
necessarily hanging out in these circles, as they need to learn to be a little more open-minded about a lot of ideas that are outside of that comfort zone. Because just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it's not true.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been saying since I feel like the beginning of time, actually Jamie and I, when we first put out our podcast stickers, we also had one that just said anything is possible, because we would talk about all these things, but then at the end of the day, even though it was so wild, we would sit there, especially me. That's why I kind of invented the term middle bitch, was because I would always talk myself back into sometimes reasoning with things that I don't believe in. And it's because literally anything is possible. Just because you can't put A and B together doesn't mean that A and B aren't together. And I think that's a hard pill for some people to swallow. They need to taste it and touch it and feel it and smell it and put their little dirty fingernails all up in it to feel like it means something of importance. But
Yeah,
no.
and that's always been kind of the root of everybody's kind of personal belief system about anything, everything is, if you're willing to believe something bigger than yourself, outside of what you experience, what you can see, what you can touch, what you can see, that's going to open your mind up a little bit more to things that, while you may not be able to physically touch things, you may at least be able to accept that something like that is real, or at least the possibility of it. Possibilities. That's all we're asking, is for possibilities.
And with possibilities, it's just a giant door. I think that if you fully block anything out in your mind, it doesn't matter what evidence comes towards you, because you've literally blocked it out of your sphere.
Yeah.
Where I just truly think that your consciousness will never let it in, because you've kept that door shut. Like, I think of it again always as like a strange energetic field of information. And if you told yourself none of this is possible, even if it was right there, that it physically can't even enter your own personal energetic field, because you've blocked that off as a possibility. And it's like, for me, I'm like, why not just stay wide open? Why not just be so open? It doesn't mean you have to believe everything. Obviously, I don't. But if we stay wide open and open to possibilities, sometimes the craziest things end up kind of coming to your front door, so to say. And you're just like, where the fuck did you come from? What? And it's literally because you've left yourself wide open. So people that stay in that box, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say you're just going to stay there, but I also kind of think that sometimes the universe will catapult you in a situation to force you to believe in some things. You know what I mean? Like
Totally
those
understand.
military, I mean, let's like take the TikTok experience, for example, whether that is government or not, because that's still up in the air. There's a lot of people that were there that didn't think about these things at all, but they had to confront it. So sometimes people are just like pulled from their position. And I wonder if that was something that was presented to them in the past and they didn't follow it and they ignored it till the universe was like, all right, I'll roll up my sleeves. I got to make you. They're just like, pull you into seeing some crazy shit.
Well, humanity's always had those limits of their knowledge base challenged. There was, not that long ago, just only a few hundred years ago, where it's like, if I sail out into the ocean that way, I'm going to fall off the edge of the earth. And I'm just going to spit off into outer space and dragons are going to eat me or whatever it is. But there would be explorers who would be like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go check it out for myself. Oh, look, there is no edge. There is no dragons. There's some weird, creatures in this other patch of land that I found. And oh, look, there's also people here. So if you stay constrained by that narrow focus, you're not going to discover all the other mysteries that are out there.
But it's wild, Enzo, because some people still think we are going to fall off.
Some people do, and that's okay. I get it, because that goes back to that. This is what I can touch. This is what I can see. This is what I can sense.
Exactly, because they're like, I've never been up there.
Right.
I can respect that. I have to tell you, I truly, truly believe that the world is round. But when I have, it's like a round with a bulge. That's too scientific, but yeah. But when I have other conversations with people and they bring that up, like say family, for example, and they're just like, those people are crazy. I sometimes end up being that person that is playing devil's advocate. And it's not because I believe that, but it's because I would like other people to also understand where they're coming from and to also just be open-minded to questioning things. So I'm just like, yeah, but also you're not an astronaut. I'm not an astronaut. We've never been to fucking space. We've never even been to the goddamn moon. The moon is as far as man has even gone. So how do you really know? The only pictures that you have of space are the ones that you see on NASA or whatnot. That's on the internet. What about the telescopes? Well, you see, there could be a projection technology. It's like, so I have that type of like,
for
where
the last several
really
hundred years that people have been looking at
playing
the sky. Yes.
just devil's advocate there, but I think that's good to know so you kind of understand where they're coming from.
Sure.
I understand that they've never been out in space. I'm not sure. I can see that, but I still know that we are on a planet and it's real.
Of those kind of folks that we're talking about, if you think they're like, okay, look, here's the whatever it is, $500,000 or whatever it is to ride up the spaceship, like William Shatner did here a few months back, and you can go to the edge of space, you can look down on the curvature of the Earth, and you can see the darkness of the sky. Do you think they would do it? Or would they be like, no?
See, that's the thing. I think that 90% of them might not go.
Would you?
I hate to say that.
Let's put it that way. If
I would.
Somebody said
go.
In a heartbeat, yeah.
If someone right now was like, "Do you want to go to Mars, but you might die?"
I'm done. I'm gone. I'm on the next ship. I would totally.
I think I would go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why not? What else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
It's what is more important than that. I mean, although I would hate to die out in space, because believe it or not, that's actually one of my biggest.
Die, regardless where it is.
I used to have this reoccurring dream where I was out in space, and I had a few. One was that I was in like a roller coaster almost in space. You know those things that look like claws, and there's like seats on them, and they go up and then they go like this.
Oh, the hanging type roller coasters where it's the things
it's just
up
like
here.
A claw and it goes.
Yeah.
I used to have a reoccurring dream like that in space, and then it like morphed itself into just me in space, like free falling. And I think that is truly my worst nightmare, is being like untethered, floating in space, awaiting my death. Like even just thinking about standing on the ledge of a spaceship and just pure black space, like that just terrifies the absolute fuck out of me. I can't think of anything worse than that.
Did you see the footage of when William Shatner went up and came back, and they had cameras right in his face as soon as he got off?
Was he like, get out of
Oh
cry.
no, he was almost to like a breakdown point where he's trying to rationalize what he experienced. It's really, at first when I saw it, I was like, what is wrong with him? But I get it now. He was because he's trying to process it, what he experienced. Where what he was actually saying was, I would look down and see, this is William
Nothing.
Shatner. I would look down and there would be light, and that's life. And I would look up and be darkness, which is death. Which it's a Shatner thing, my crappy Shatner imitation. But he's not wrong. Basically, what he was processing is he would look one direction down on the earth. That's where all life, everything he knows that's ever been alive, everything he's ever known is right down there.
Right down there.
But when he looks up through the same window, blackness, a vacuum of space, which would mean instant death to everything down there. And he was processing all of this, because as soon as they opened the door and he popped out, they had a camera right in his face.
That's like beautiful, though. Even though that
really
sounds
is.
terrifying, even just the way that you just described that to me is beautiful.
It really was an experience that you could tell he was shaken to his core of what he experienced just from that little thing, just, a few minutes of being up in zero G. And it's funny when you watch, like, if you watch the entire video, because there's a lot of younger folks that went up with him, and they're all like, wee, or they're flipping around,
Fucking around,
throwing stuff, and
Jamie would be up there and like try to stick a toe out to be like, oh,
need my toe freeze? Hi, I got a frozen toe in low Earth orbit. But they're acting like it's spring break, whereas William Shatner is like glued to the window and it's like, oh my God, taking in all that the universe had to offer. And that's what he came back with. And there's been a few other shows that he's done where he's explained that in a lot more detail than I could have done just now. But it's very moving. It's my toes.
I think I have to look that up. We're extremely
it's
close on time, by the way.
I know, we got to get out of here. It's almost
time.
time.
We got to hit the road, Jax. If everyone could please promptly and in a calmly fashion, single file, over to Paranormal Chop Shop, where there is going to be an amazing interview today. We have a very famous person joining us. Right, Enzo?
Kenny Irish, aka the crypto-punkologist.
I'm obsessed with punkologist. I just want a shirt that says punkologist. I'm so punk at heart. So I want to be a punkologist. God damn it. Okay, well, Jamie put this in the chat. Everyone, please copy, paste, and we will see you guys over there.
Yep, going to be a fun one. We'll see you there.
Thank you guys so much. We love you. Have a